All right, guys, welcome back to my channel. I haven't posted any videos in the last few months. I've been letting these last few months sink in. Um, and I mean, it's been a crazy last few weeks, but it's been an intense last few months. And as you see in the video is called Let's Not Be Complacent. And we shouldn't be complacent. I feel like a lot of people in the last few months have just been complacent, like, oh, Trump won. It's going to be a golden age. Oh, America's back. We're finally back. Which, I mean, to a certain degree, I agree. But if we're going to be complacent, what does that mean for the next few years? Are we just going to let Elon Musk, run the whole Trump agenda? Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of the things that he's been doing in the last few weeks, gutting the bureaucracy in our executive branch, has been great. It's been great. I mean, you could say, I would think you're sus if you think this, but I mean, if you think this is some sort of constitutional crisis, I mean, you need to reevaluate your fucking brain because I think you're retarded. I mean, let's keep it 100. Let's be straight up about it. It's great that he's gutting the bureaucracy. It's great that he defunded 800 million in the Department of Education. It's great that he's removing millions of funding for condoms in Mozambique. Like, I mean, I'm all for that. I'm all for gutting the bureaucracy, but this movement wasn't about only gutting the bureaucracy. This is a nationalist movement. This is the new conservative movement. And I feel like people still don't realize that. And by people, I mean like the mainstream conservative movement. They still think that this is the Reagan era 2.0, which it isn't. You have to get it out of your head. This isn't the Reagan era. There were so many mistakes with the Reagan era. He was an overrated president. He did some good things, don't get me wrong, with Reaganomics and tax cuts, but many of our economic issues and even immigration issues in our modern era are because of Reagan and other Republican presidents before Trump. So let's not forget about that. Let's not forget that it was Ronald Reagan that gave millions of illegal aliens amnesty. Let's not forget that it was Reagan that advocated for the assault weapons ban in 1994. Even though he was already not president, he did advocate for the assault weapons ban. So let's not pretend like this is the Reagan 2.0 era. And I feel like a lot of people think it is, but it isn't, all right? But let's reevaluate the last 30 years of the conservative movement and realize that Republicans are just as guilty in regards to the immigration crisis as liberals are. Like, let's not get it wrong. We've had record high illegal immigration under Biden, and it's despicable. I mean, how many people came here illegally in the last 4 years? Nobody knows. But we know it was definitely over 10 million. The catch and release program, who's guilty of that program being so accessible to Biden? It's not Obama. It's definitely not Trump. It was George W. Bush. I don't know if you know, but in 2008, he passed the William Wilberforce Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act, which essentially gave full immigration court hearings to non-contiguous countries. Let's not pretend that it was only Democrats that created this immigration crisis. Republicans have been guilty of this for so many decades. Let's not forget that mass migration started in the early 70s. Who was president in the early 70s? Oh, it was Richard Nixon. Yeah, so let's blame both sides on this issue. And sure, yeah, I mean, there was things that Trump could have done in this first administration to make it harder for illegal immigrants to come under Biden's administration. But Trump's, I mean, by far has been the best president in modern history. I'm not going to deny that. He has by far been the best president we've had in a century. But as the title says, let's not be complacent. We have to really debate, are the tech billionaires really on our side? Because from what it seems like, they're not. I mean, the whole thing about the H-1B debate that happened in December, it really opened up my eyes, because I mean, I really liked a lot of what Elon Musk has spoke about in the last few months, but really that specific issue, even though it was mostly spoken about 2 months ago, it's still relevant today. I mean, Trump even posted on his Truth social media why he thought he was right about the H-1B visa. So, I mean, we can't be complacent and just be like, oh, this is a new age in America, it's a golden age, because there's still a lot of work to do. Even though illegal alien apprehensions have come to an all-time low in the last few weeks, look at the deportation numbers. Are you happy with 700 to 800 on average every day being deported? If you do the math, that's not even 1 million in a year. We know that there's over 30 million illegal aliens in this country. Do you think that deporting 2 to 3 million is going to fix this issue? What's going to happen in 2028? Do we really want to be in that situation where we only deport a few million in the next 4 years? And what? J.D. Vance gets elected in 2028. And what happens? Deportation numbers stay at the same level. Do the math. If we continue at this path, we're going to have to rely on Republicans winning elections for the next 30 to 40 years. And that's only if more illegals do not come in this country, that we could get all the illegals out of here in the next 30 years, which, I mean, it's unrealistic. So we have to do more. And it's not just reforming our immigration system. It's not only passing an immigration moratorium for a minimum of 10 years, which I think should be longer, but a minimum of 10 years. We need to reform our voter ID laws. We need a civics test. I don't believe that voting is a right. I don't believe everybody should vote. Voting is a privilege. It really is. We need civics test. We need lower voter turnout. People don't like hearing this, but that's the truth. Not everybody deserves to vote. A lot of you are fucking retarded. I'm sorry to tell you, but a lot of you don't deserve to vote. Glad that you voted for Trump in 2024. You voted for him because of what? Oh, cheaper gas prices, cheaper groceries. I mean, let's be realistic. His tariffs are going to raise the cost of living. And I'm for the tariffs, but I'm also realistic to know that in the short run, the issues that both Democrats and Republicans have made into crisis in the last few decades, fixing those issues are going to cause short-term pain. But your average voter doesn't really sink that in. So if something were to happen to the economy where, we have to raise interest rates because the cost of living goes up, which, I mean, the Federal Reserve is already admitting that they're probably going to have to raise interest rates because inflation went up the last month. So if egg prices continue to go up and you have to spend $12 on a dozen eggs in the next few months, and we don't reform our voter ID laws, do you think Republicans are going to win in 2028? Probably not. I mean, I know the economy is going to get better if we abolish the income tax and we push tariffs on every country internationally. Our economy in 10 to 15 years is going to be much better, and it'll resemble an economy of the 1950s where one person was able to support a family. But I don't think voters are going to be able to realize that. And until we pass civics test in order to be able to vote, we're running the risk of Democrats winning in 2028. And I mean, MAGA movement basically goes into shits after that. So, just keeping this video short today. I just want you guys to really let that sink in. Research more about the H-1B visas and how that's hurting the American economy. And just share this video with everybody else. Follow me on X, on FernandoMeza Jr. Follow me on IG. Fernando Meza Jr., and I'll see you guys next time, all right?